It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 18th day of August 2020, coming to you from Forest in Central Virginia on what's going to be a fairly hot day again, dry day at least. You'll probably hear the mowers going outside in the background as my guys are here mowing the grass, which finally dried up enough from all the rain we had to get the mowers going. So they're liable to pop in. No telling where they're going to be while I'm doing the show. You know, I mow about 8.75 acres is my yard. So we're liable to hear them passing by the house several times today. So anyway, that's going on outside. A couple things to cover this morning before we get started. By the way, if you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where we talk about anything to do with the travel and cruise industry. Then I post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. In addition to that, anything happens in between shows, I try to go live as quickly as I can. So ahead next Sunday on the Cruise Amigos, our guest will be Daniel Hopfield, the marketing director of Katarina Cruise Line, who will be on board their newest ship, Katarina, and broadcast from Primistan, Croatia, an island on the Dalmatia coast of the Adriatic Sea. That's coming up next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 8 p.m. London time for you folks over there in the UK. Now, we do have some breaking news this morning out of the UK. And matter of fact, this news is coming to us from the Wexham Park Golf Center. Our friend Pete Hall has finished 18 holes of golf. It's the first time he's played in 7 years. However, there was a problem with the play. It seems that the Professional Golf Association in the United Kingdom has banned Pete from playing on any golf course or golf facility in the United Kingdom permanently due to slow and erratic play. It seems that Pete lost 37 golf balls in 18 holes today. And at one time on a par 3 tee, there was 41 people backed up waiting for Pete to get out of the way. And so he's been banned permanently from golf courses in the United Kingdom. Now, you'll notice from the picture that Pete has kind of controlled the camera so you can tell that he, in fact, found his golf hat. He found his golf glove, but he didn't find his golf shoes, which, of course, he can't show that. So actually, Pete's running around barefoot at the Wexham Park Golf Center, and that's over there in the UK where those guys talk funny. Just breaking news. That news came to me from ESPN and the Golf Channel this morning. That's our friend Pete playing golf. So, all right, we got to look at weather, guys. It seems this is the time of year that every day we have to look at weather. However, this time we're looking at weather. I can't start on the Atlantic like I normally do. We got to go over here in the Pacific and talk about notice I said Hurricane Genevieve. So when did that become a hurricane, you ask? Genevieve formed on Sunday about 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time as a tropical depression 12E. 6 hours later, by about 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, it had strengthened into a tropical storm and was renamed Tropical Storm Genevieve. The storm continued to intensify rapidly, and by 11 a.m. yesterday, it had strengthened to hurricane status. Now, you'll notice that it is right off the coast of Mexico. It's moving northwest. And let's see, checking to see the update on the 11 o'clock figures. It's still moving northwest at 16 miles per hour, 130 mile per hour winds. The pressure is 950 millibars. Now, here's the problem with this one, folks. There is an increasing risk of tropical storm force winds over the southern portion of Baja California, starting actually this evening or early tomorrow morning, and continuing into Thursday as Genevieve passes near or on the southwest southern tip of Baja California. Now, a lot depends, folks. It's one of those things where a slight change in weather, a slight change in the wind, a little jig from the storm, and this sucker comes inland, right down there at Cabo or someplace in that vicinity on the southern tip of Baja California. Tropical storm warnings are now in effect for that whole area of Baja California, as is surf warnings. Large swells generated by Genevieve are affecting portions of the coast of southern Mexico and will continue to spread northward along the coast of Mexico to the Baja California peninsula starting tomorrow and going through at least through Thursday. Now, if this thing follows along the track that you're seeing there on that map, it'll miss landfall. Not by much, but it'll miss it. So, and it depends on how far out and how strong those winds and stuff are off the center as it passes by. And who knows at this point. Also, how much it's going to strengthen from 130 miles per hour. That's debatable. But anyway, you're dealing with a hurricane now off the coast of Mexico. Now, on out directly west of that is one of the other disturbances, which is a small area of showers and thunderstorms. And it's, I don't even see, it's the remnants of Tropical Depression 10E. So that's now been downgraded. The chance of it re-strengthening over the next 48 hours to 72 hours is very low. So that's that one. Then there is one that was out closest to Hawaii as we talked Saturday morning. And as you can see, that's disturbance has gone well south of Hawaii. And its chance of any strengthening or formation is very low. So from the Eastern Pacific side of things, I was better wake up here. I got the wrong map up. That's the Hawaii one. You can see it sliding past there to the south. No, very little chance of that causing any more problems. And the one directly west of Genevieve, the yellow X is going to cause very little problems. So Genevieve, we got to watch. That's hurricane, pretty strong hurricane at this point. Could get stronger. We just definitely got to keep an eye on it, and we got to watch for any changes at all in direction. Now, on the Atlantic side of things, we've still got two storms over there worth mentioning this morning. The one that's out about halfway from Africa to South America. As of the 11 o'clock update, it's still considered a broad area of low pressure about 900 miles west-southwest of Cabo Verde Islands. It's producing some rain and some thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are conducive for further development, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next couple of days while the system moves westward to west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles an hour across the central and western portions of the tropical Atlantic. Formation through the next 48 hours is high, 70% chance. Over the next 5 days is higher, 90%. So that one we've got to watch. Now, the yellow X that's over much closer, you'll see is a tropical wave over the eastern Caribbean now. It's producing an area of disorganized thunderstorms and gusty winds. Significant development of this system is unlikely during the next couple of days, while it moves quickly westward at about 20 miles an hour across the eastern and central Caribbean. After that time, the wave is forecast to move more slowly westward, and a tropical depression could form late this week or this weekend when it reaches the northwestern Caribbean Sea. They're saying the next 48 hours, a chance of development at 20%. However, through the next 5 days, it goes up to 60%. So, obviously, we got to keep up with Hurricane Genevieve out in the Pacific. And we got, a couple things just to watch so far at this point in the Atlantic. So that's the latest on the weather. Okay. This story came out, actually, I started hearing about it this weekend. And at first I got real excited about it. And then the more I've looked at it, I've kind of tendered that a little bit because there's still a lot of questions. And that is on the new saliva test that can be completed in just a few hours. It's been authorized, emergency authorization for use by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. It has several advantages over traditional nasal swab test. One, it's cheap. It's less invasive. It doesn't hurt and can be performed without the need for certain testing components that have run short during the pandemic. What's more, the test known as Saliva Direct doesn't require any proprietary equipment or technology, and instructions for the test will be made immediately available to laboratories around the country, the FDA said in a statement. This was developed by the folks up at Yale. It's another testing innovation game changer that will reduce the demand for scarce testing resources, so said Admiral Brett Garrar, the U.S. Assistant Secretary of Health and the COVID-19 testing coordinator. Now, obviously, I've talked several times before to you guys about the breathalyzer test that is being developed, has been developed, and they're being tested now by a couple of places. One is in France, and the other one is up in Norway. There's some testing being done here in this country on one of those tests. Tests are being carried out in California, San Francisco, and in New York. The results of those tests should be out, be known anytime to make sure on the safety and efficacy of the breathalyzer test. Now, this saliva test is even better, but I still have some questions about this. Number one, all you got to do is spit in a cup, or some kind of container, test tube or whatever. There's no invasive crap like sticking that swab up your nose, which I like that. I didn't have to do the nose swab. I did the throat swab, and that was bad enough. But anyway, This you just they take some spit. You spit in a tube. Now, you're supposed to be able to get a result back in 3 hours. That sounds great. This is not one of those tests like a home pregnancy test that you can get a result right now. They haven't gotten that far yet, but they say that pretty soon they'll have that. They'll be able to do that. You give yourself a test and you check it right on the spot. Then if you're showing up positive, you go worry about it. If you're showing up negative, you don't, you're going about your life. That's coming. It's not there yet. But now this saliva test, the problem is your spit, and let's say you got, if it's a testing facility, you test 500 people. That's still got to go to a lab and be tested. Now, it doesn't take any special equipment like the breathalyzer test takes equipment. One of those is they said it was the size of a refrigerator. Well, that's getting expensive too. Another one is a much smaller unit, but that unit's got to be connected to something else. And that's where you get into problems on the breathalyzer test, is what they need to do to be able to analyze the breath spit that comes out of your mouth. This one, you just, spit in a cup or a tube or whatever, but it's still got to go someplace and be tested. Let's say if you set this up in a school, they're not going to have somebody right there to test, to read the test, figure out if you're positive or negative. They're not going to have somebody at an airport before you get on a plane to tell you if you're positive or negative. That's the drawback to this. It's still got to go to a lab. And that means transportation. That means you've got to gather samples together X number of minutes or hours or however long it is. They've got to be picked up and transported to a lab, and then they test it in a batch or whatever, and then let you know. So they say 3 hours, but that's not necessary. I mean, that would be, if everything works well, I would think it's 3 hours. So there's still problems on the back end of these tests. But excuse my throat, folks. But we are heading in the right direction on this. So, I mean, I'm all in favor of any of these things as long as they work. So anyway, that's the saliva test. It's gotten emergency approval. This one was developed by Yale, and I think it's the 5th test that's gotten FDA emergency approval. So it seems to me if somebody would start pushing and coordinating this stuff, maybe we could get a program going that makes sense. That's just my thought. I'm not going to rant today, folks. No ranting. Just saying. All right. Everybody in the world has been watching the Grandiosa. The MSC Grandiosa is the first major ship or cruise ship from a major cruise line to sail since the industry-wide shutdown. And we've got a bit of an update on what's going on the Grandiosa. She welcomed guests back for the first time in over 5 months on Sunday before sailing from Genoa, Italy, with plan to make scheduled visits to Rome, Naples, and Palermo, as well as a stop in Malta. Each guest had to undergo a swab test before boarding. After the test was returned negative, the guest was allowed to embark the ship. So they had some kind of a swab test that they could get a result on it pretty quick. Each crew member underwent 3 tests, as well as mandatory isolation, regardless of the test results, in order to ensure they are in good health. Over the past few months, we've heard numerous cruise executives say that when the ships return, they would be on board as a way to assure the public that the ships were safe. Sure enough, MSC CEO Gianni Honorato, I think is the way he pronounces it, is among those currently sailing on the Grandiosa. In a statement, the executive said, "It's a real pleasure for me to be here and sail on board the first of our ships to return to service and to be able to welcome back our guests." So far, there has been no problems reported on the Grandiosa. I've been watching for all of the news reports. There's been very little social media stuff from passengers. I don't know if it's controlled that way as far as the Wi-Fi signal on board, whether they're controlling the flow of information coming off the Grandiosa, or it might be that there's, it's all people that's speaking Italian and it just doesn't come up into my news feeds. I don't know. The only thing that I found interesting about this was that their excursions are strictly from MSC. So when they go into port, like I think today they're in Civitavecchia, that's Rome. Any excursions that the passengers go on is on an MSC excursion. You can't go out and do one of, the cheaper or one of the locals or any of that. They won't allow it. They're trying to control the safety of the passengers in port as well as on the ship. So obviously they have ascertained that the excursion provider that they're sending their guests to has met all the various protocols to assure as much as they can the safety of the passengers while they're in port. So I found that one. That's the first time I've seen that one explained exactly that way. Now, Carnival has got 3 ships that are going to be sailing in September. Of course, they've been shut down for months like everybody else. But actually, the Carnival this Carnival Corporation, not Carnival Cruise Line, not the Carnival Fun Ships, but the corporation, Costa Cruises and Ada Cruises have announced plans to slowly resume cruises beginning in September. Ada plans to resume its cruise operations with the first ships from German ports at the beginning of September. The first trips from Kiel will start on September 6th on the Ada Perla to the Norwegian fjords and start from Hamburg on September 12th, 19th, and 26th. Costa will launch their first cruises from Italy on September 6th. At first, only Italian guests will be able to sail with Costa, and the cruises will only visit Italian ports. The first Costa ship to set sail will be Costa Deliziosa on September 6th, offering cruises from Trieste to discover the most beautiful destinations in Greece. That ship will be followed by Costa Diadema on September 19th, doing 7-day Western Mediterranean cruises from Genoa to experience the best of Italy and Malta. So, Carnival Corporation has got 3 of its ships will be sailing in September over there in Europe. It has absolutely nothing to do with the ships in the States, which, of course, have to have CDC guideline approval and all that business before they can sail. And as we've talked about numerous times, the whole situation in the United States has got to get better before that's going to happen, which means we've got to have the numbers going at least in the right direction, which they still are not. There's some signs of looking better in places, but I'm afraid with the rush to get kids back to school, we're going to have another setback because we still don't have the proper testing and enough of it to be able to find a problem and handle it quickly. And it's going to just continue to spread and keep spreading until we get to a point of doing that, so that's why I'm all in favor of all these new testing procedures that are cost effective. Let's get them out there. Test. Goodness gracious. So we can maybe start turning the corner on this. And again, you've got to do the social distancing whole thing. That's going to stay, folks. Wear your mask, socially distance, stay 6 feet from everybody. Don't get close to anybody if any way possible to avoid it. Even if, you have to go to a store, a grocery store, stay away from anybody else. That's my take on it. We're still not going out to restaurants. Oh, we eat out. We eat in, we order out and pick it up. Most of the restaurants bring it right out to the car. But we're not going inside a restaurant, even though that's open in Virginia. Now, that brings us to another issue that I've thought long and hard on how to handle today. And that's the political football that we've come up with in this country about the post office. My first thought on this was, wow, this is really bad. Let me go over the facts that I know are in fact true. And again, folks, I am not making any political comments or slants on this. I'm trying to report solely the facts as I know them. Over the weekend, reports were out from several states on complaints to the post office and the new, it started during the early part of the summer, Postmaster General appointed by the president, that they were trying to slow down the mail service. They removed a number of high traffic mailboxes, and they dismantled a number of the high speed sorting machines in some of the post office. We know that's a fact. We know that when some of the folks in Congress and the Senate on both sides of the aisle started raising hell about it over the weekend, the post office backed off and said, okay, we will stop doing that. They did have proof of, I don't remember how many mailboxes they were pulling offline and how many of these machines that they were dismantling, but a bunch. Of course, what becomes the political football in it is that one side says, oh yeah, that's definitely the president's side trying to eliminate mail-in ballots because he's opposed to them. And of course, they're saying that no, we're trying to improve the whole thing and make it a more efficient system and a system that doesn't lose as much money as it's political crap, folks. Like I've said several times on this show before, man, if it's a politician and those mouths are moving, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, you're lying. And nobody's telling you the truth anymore. I'm getting so sick and tired of all of it. But anyway, we know that there's been a problem because the post office folks, the upper echelon, admitted to, yeah, they're doing this. Now, so Nancy Pelosi has made the Congress come back to Washington to start hearings, because if in fact this has happened, and if in fact they can prove that this is some kind of nefarious effort to stop mail voting, mail-in ballots, they can't wait until their vacation's over and they come back in the middle of September and try to have a hearing. I mean, that would be ridiculous, because by then, hell, the post office could have no mailboxes left. Or could have no machines left. I mean, we don't know. We don't have the facts yet, because, again, there's just not people that I can believe anymore on either side when they talk. So we know there's a problem. We know there's been some changes, and they're going to have some hearings to try to determine how much. Nobody's ever come back and said, no, wait a minute, all these that you've taken out already, all these boxes that are like in this picture, this isn't just in one area. There's probably 20, 30 boxes that have been taken off of high traffic areas. Well, you can see them right there. They've been removed from where they were out so you could mail letters and stuff. Not to mention the high-speed sorting machines that are already gone. Nobody's talking about, oh, we got to replace them. We got to put them back. You know, whatever's been done apparently has been done. So what is that going to mean? Well, if you're a senior citizen and you get your prescriptions by mail, it's being slower. A lot of people are saying they're not getting their refills on time. The military gets their prescriptions by mail. The military and some senior citizens get their checks by mail. So if that's slowed down in any way, it affects a lot of people. The one that jumped up and grabbed me, that of course nobody's talking because it's not that important in the scheme of things. How about all you people, you cruise people like me that have had cruises canceled this year? And you're wondering where the hell your refund check from the cruise companies are. Well, how much of that's being slowed down and held up by the post office because they've taken the 20 or 30% of the boxes away. And they've cut out all overtime. And they've done all these things that the reporting is saying. Whether you can believe the reporting or not, I don't know. But anyway, that's just the situation. So Congress is coming back. At least the House is coming back to have hearings on this mess. Supposedly, the Postmaster General is going to testify. We'll see on that one. As in the past, the president has been able to stop his people from testifying. And this guy's clearly one of the president's henchmen that he got appointed in this position. It looks bad to me. But again, I'm trying not to make that political assertion because I'm at the point where I don't believe either side. I really don't. Something's going on. I'm planning on voting. But as a matter of fact, I've already sent my application in so I can vote by mail. I can get an absentee ballot. And now I don't know in Virginia yet if they have drop box places or if you have to just lick and stick it and put it in the mailbox. If they have drop boxes, we probably would do that and we'll take our 3 votes, or because Amanda's not planning on voting absentee. She's planning on going and standing in line, which God bless her. If she wants to do that, she can. My sister and brother-in-law and I are not going to go stand in line. We're not going to put ourselves at risk in the pandemic by being around a bunch of damn people who probably won't have masks on. So we're voting absentee. We've already sent our applications in. We haven't gotten the ballots back yet. I don't know what kind of schedule that's going to have or what's going to happen on the back end. So that's it, folks. That's what's happening with the mailboxes. And I don't understand it. It looks bad on the president. I'm not saying it is bad on the president. It looks bad. We'll wait and see if you can believe whatever you hear. So, commercial time. Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise. Yeah. Okay. Now, Sunday, we had Lady Moore from Alaska on, who was a delightful guest on the Cruise Amigos show from London. And of course, as I always do when I get a chance, she's done, even at her young age, has done 14 cruises and been to 34 countries, I believe it was, which is wonderful. But anyway, I asked her about her favorite cruise ship.
Favorite cruise ship would be the Freedom class of Royal Caribbean. So I did the Freedom of the Seas for my 21st birthday. It was me and 7 other friends. And as far as the ship goes, I ended up doing that same ship again with my mom. And that ship just was nice. As far as the size goes and the different things that you can do on it, like the flow rider. I never stood up on the flow rider, but definitely had a lot of fun. And the rock climbing wall, playing volleyball, soccer. So for me, that was my favorite ship. Yeah.
I didn't stand up on a flow rider either. As a matter of fact, my fat butt, you couldn't get out on the flow rider, but that's just me. And of course, I asked Lady about her favorite port of call.
Favorite port of call is St. Thomas for kind of a biased reason. I have family out there. So when we go to St. Thomas, we meet up with a grandma, and we get home cooked food straight from her garden and different fish that they've caught locally. So I am a little bit biased because going to St. Thomas is like visiting family.
All right. So Lady was a great guest. It was another great show. Going to be it's going to be a challenging show this week, I'm afraid, because our guest is going to be live streaming from on board a ship in Premistan, Croatia, which is down on the Adriatic Sea. Might have some issues with streaming capabilities. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be great if it works out. And then one of our Scottish ladies has posted a bunch of pictures of her last trip she made to that part of the world, and the pictures are fabulous. So Allison, thank you for posting those. You and I we've got to do about 6 chats now. You put yourself in a world of hurt now by posting all those pictures, because I'm going to nail you, and we're going to do a bunch of chats on a lot of things that you've gotten up recently, not to mention you and you guys going off on a ladies' day last week into Edinburgh. We're going to do a chat on that one too. All right, so anyway, all right, let's go look at it. Got a bunch of comments this morning, which I haven't even looked at yet, so I don't even know who's here. Tom's here. Good, that's good, Tom. Amy's here. First thing again. Goodness gracious. You're getting more used to being here on time than we're used to you being late. That's great. Gretchen's with us out in Ohio. She says, sorry, she's late. She was here at 11:02, 2 minutes late. There's Pete. Pete's with us from London. By the way, folks, my understanding is he ran out of sherry on the 3rd hole and had to send a boat back to the clubhouse to reload his wineskin of sherry that he used throughout the golf course so he could make it through 18 holes. And of course, he's been now banned from all courses in Great Britain. Jason's with us. Jason, how you doing this morning up there in Pittsburgh? Tom Henry missed Bruce last night. So did I. Tom Henry says, go bowling, Pete. The balls come back to you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He hit balls all over the world and lost them all and stuff. I'm teasing, folks. I have no idea. Pete could have shot a 68 for all I know. Let's see. Where are we? Yeah, Tom Henry said, say, I missed you. Emily's with us. Good morning, gang. Emily's up there in New York, of course. Jason was busy doing his own stream. Oh, I'm got to do some checking on that, Mr. Jason. I know you were planning on doing some stuff on the next cruise, but if you started doing some live streaming, I'm going to have to check it out. My friend, you've supported me all along. I'll be happy to go supporting you as well. Pete says, Chillie, you missed the bit when I took out a golf ball and it was made of chocolate. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, Pete. I forgot about that part of it. That was a good bit too. Let's see. Gretchen, how do I get Gretchen on the hurricane list? Stinking Genevieve. Yeah. Let's see. I could probably give you some damn line, Gretchen. I could tell you that, next time I talk to Jim Cantori, I'll tell him to put Gretchen on the list, but he has nothing to do with it either. I do talk to him once in a while, not very often, once in a while. So I'll mention it to him next time I see him. Hey, Jim, put Gretchen on the list, would you? I'll probably come back. Yeah. 2097. Gretchen is the 14th name on the list. Tom Henry says, my mother-in-law is coming. She is Nana. She's coming to Richmond. Tom says she better behave. I hear you. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with mother-in-laws anymore. Nikki's with us. Morning, all late here. She's taking Amy's place. That's okay, Nikki. You're here. We don't care about timing. We really don't. Emily says cruises for solos, great photos here. Love the video. Yeah, I tell you what, we've having some fun with that. All three of us on the Cruise Amigos, and the response we're getting from people, and like Allison uploading pictures on trips that she's taken, going back a year or two, but they're still fabulous pictures. There's just really, it's just terrific fun for all of us. Let's see. Pete says he can't believe that he tried to hit a chocolate golf ball. Well, after you've lost 37, you got to hit something, Pete. Don't take this the wrong way, Pete, but were you tipping a few? I'm telling you, he emptied a couple wineskins of sherry by the third hole. Cruises for solos. Did you golf barefoot? I'm afraid that was my take on the picture. Sadly, he was totally sober, and yes, no shoes and chocolate golf balls. It went well. Yeah, something tells me Pete's being about as honest as I am. So, oh, goodness. Grandiosa is in Naples with the Jade. Wonder how the COVID is doing. No, you said, yeah. I've been following Tom as I said on the story. I've been checking on it regularly. I can't even find anybody online that's on the ship. I mean, and maybe it's a language thing, since I don't speak Italian. But yeah, I've tried. I get stuff from their fan club and several of the groups, but nobody that's actually on the Grandiosa right now, other than the CEO that did his posting his stuff. So, all I know is that so far it's going well. And Pete says he needs a glass now. Yeah, it's time. Pete, it's time for you to start drinking. I understand. What is it? 12, but yeah, it's dinner time over there almost. So you can safely start drinking, Pete. We'll let you. No news is good news, Gretchen says. I agree with that one. No news from Hurtigruten was not so good. They were hiding things. Yeah, well, that's true too. And I tell you what, they had better not be hiding anything because, man, they got a lot of eyes on them. That's probably going to be the most scrutinized cruise on a cruise ship ever after the minor issues that happened when they maybe tried going too quickly. And this is the first major. So Pete says no, he agrees no news is good news. I hope we're all like that. Tom says, what happened to the dog sniffing option? Lab brought to you. I want a yellow lab to do my test. Oh, I catch. Tom has a weird sense of humor, folks. I was a little slow on the uptake there. Yes, Tom, I totally agree. A yellow lab would be nice to do the testing. I could dig that. Although I've got a couple of chocolate labs that are nice too. Gretchen says she opts for bulldogs. She's not picky though, English or French. Emily's a dog person. The dog sniffing is real. It's amazing if they can sniff the virus. Wow. Train those suckers to sniff out COVID-19. Wouldn't that be great? My goodness, there's a whole new world of business for us as dog handlers. Teach dogs to sniff out COVID. Wow. Wouldn't that be something? Jason's heard mixed reviews about MSC cruises. Yeah, I've heard some bad things, and part of the bad things are where Americans particularly are just not used to the European style. It is totally different style. You find the same style on Acosta, Ada, Tui. The European style is different than we're used to in this country, admittedly. Of course, with MSC, everything's based around Italian as opposed to around English. So while there's still plenty of English spoken on board, it doesn't help matters any. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one. There's been a lot, and they had some issues. There was a bunch of people that didn't like the seaside, and there's a bunch of people that just love the seaside. So, the Meraviglia, my people that I know that have been on the Meraviglia loved it. I was going to be on the Harmonia, and that's one of mine that were canceled out because I wanted to do an MSC to see for myself. One of these days, we'll get back to getting on all those. So, Gretchen says she's heard mixed reviews as well. Yeah, again, I don't push MSC cruises because of that until I get a chance to go on one myself. Nathan Ludwig. There's a new name on here, folks. Welcome aboard, Nathan. Did you hear now that both Cayman Island and St. Kitts and Nevis have banned cruising until 2021? Excuse me for, again, choking over that one. Yes. The story on Cayman broke. Well, that's been probably a week ago, maybe 10 days ago. That's been a while. St. Kitts and Nevis, that one I just saw maybe over the weekend, that they have said no to cruising till 2021. And quite frankly, Nathan, it's my feeling that we're probably not going to see cruising until the first of the year. I don't know that. My contacts like at Virgin are still hoping for the 1st of November. I know Carnival is hoping for the 1st of November, but a lot's got to happen. A lot's got to happen with, especially Florida, before there's any way that we're going to get any cruises approved. But anyway, glad you're with us, Nathan. Join us anytime you want. As you can tell, they carry on a lot of conversation back and forth while I'm running my mouth. But of course, I claim all the time that nobody has to listen to me because they've got all these conversations going amongst themselves, but that's fine too. Time flies, Emily says. Yes, it does. Let's see. What else we got on down here? Nikki is intrigued by the MSC Yacht Club. Is anyone selling that? I haven't, but I want to. Emily says our government is opening gyms next week with quite a few safety measures, and people have to wear a mask while working out. Well, that's been one of the issues that has caused problems in some of the states. I know in Virginia, they've been open for about a month now. Again, because of my age, I'm still and self-quarantining, so I don't go. Nathan says, why are we talking about this now? I'm not sure which one specifically you were talking about, Nathan, because sometimes there's a time lapse from show to show on some things. I try to keep things up to date as much as possible. Jason says, I'm getting political again, laugh out loud. I'm really tried not to, even though the mailbox business, it's hard not to be political on that. But again, I just don't know who's telling the truth, if anybody is. Sonny's with us. Sonny says hello. Emily says, that's New York feels that gyms are more essential than going to movies. Well, from a person that works out, I can understand. I can understand that, I guess. Except I can't go to the Y, for instance. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that. Jason says, I don't need a gym. I run outside 6 days a week. I wish I could run. I wish I could walk. That would tickle me to death to be able to walk again. Until I replace this stupid knee, it ain't going to happen. Nathan says, cruise ships are more essential than mail-in voting. Well, that's debatable. I would love to be able to get our cruise ships going again. Don't get me wrong. That's the top on my list. It's just that I'm afraid the travel aspect of it and the safety of it is not there yet. I hope we're working toward getting there. And boy, I hope that MSC's, the Grandiosa, has not a problem in the world. That would be fabulous. And Costa coming up in September is fabulous. They're going to have a lot of eyes on them, though. Sonny says gyms are more essential. I need YMCA joined and I'm doing water aerobics. Good for you, Sonny. I miss my water aerobics with all my ladies at the Y. You know, I do my water aerobics in my pool here. It's not the same when you're doing it by yourself, but at least I'm getting in some good workout, you know, almost every day. Although it was 57 degrees here last night. That water's going to be cold as crap this morning. Gretchen does treadmill at home, 3.5 miles, 7 days a week. Good for you, Gretchen. That's why you look as good as you do. That's awesome. Tom Henry says, I saw a funny video. The PO changes were to delay the mail ballot so we can't approve a winner. Oh, the post office changes were to delay the mail ballot so we can't approve a winner. If that happens, then the speaker is installed as president. Wonderful, President Pelosi. Wow, that would be. Yeah. I'm not going to comment on that one, Tom. Yeah, again, I have problems with any of those folks up there. So don't think they can prove mail-in voting being slowed down, but post office is run poorly. Former employee here. You know, the post office is, you know, that's a service, people. It's not like a business. For years, it's lost money. It's never been a profit center. But I'm afraid that, you know, we count on it. And COVID, we've counted on it more. Look at all the people that are at home now that order stuff by mail. I mean, that's been great for the business world, but that stuff's got to be delivered to you. And a lot of it's done through the post office. So goodness knows we don't want that slowed down, especially with prescriptions and checks. Anyway, good exercise, Emily says. Yes, indeed. Tom Henry says he's getting multiple begs for money in the mail. They sure are not slowing those down. Tom, they're never going to slow down those where they're begging for you to send them money for everything in the world. Some of it legitimate, some of it not. Not bad for an old bag, Jason. Yeah, I hear you, Gretchen. Ludwig, Nathan says, Sonny Wallace, I heard they will soon be remodeling the post office process, but it may or may not be delayed to go after the election. And that's why I was trying, again, Nathan, I was being perfectly honest when I was trying not to be political on this morning, because I've heard both sides of this issue from sources that you think you could believe. It's just that I've gotten to the point where I don't believe any of them anymore. So, I clearly understand that some of the things that they're doing could be good in the long run. So, I mean, I was trying to be as honest as I can about not being political on that issue today, because I'm just not at all sure which way it goes. Sonny, post office taking boxes now because overtime has been cut and the stops delay the carrier. Bad management. And I can understand that perspective as well, that there are issues with the people that have to go collecting the stuff out there. But then, I don't know. Do you people that send mail out, I've always dropped them in mailboxes. I have a mailbox at the house here where you put the flag up and the postman stops and takes mail, but I never use it. I don't know why, come to think about it. I always take stuff when I snail mail stuff. I always take it usually to the drive-in box down at the post office, which is a mile and a half away. I realized I could do it at the mailbox at the end of my driveway, and I don't. And don't ask me why. So if they actually took my mailbox away, I could still mail stuff. But I sure don't want things slowed down that's coming in. So, but again, again, folks, my first inkling on this one was to just blast and say, oh my God, it's all because of the election. Well, now I'm seeing that there's another side to this issue. So that's why I'm trying not to do it. It looks bad, but maybe it's not as bad as everybody, including me, thinks at first. Tom Henry, I have a bigger problem with FedEx. They're getting very slow. I've had multiple shipments that get adjusted more than one time for delivery date, several days late sometimes. I had noticed that on a couple shipments as well and thought it was just, so be it. I never order anything that I'm that tight on time that I want something quickly other than just wanting it to get here. But yeah, I've seen some slowdown with FedEx as well. Amy says, I'm the granddaughter of a postman, but I have to be honest and say the post office has been having problems for years. Yeah, and that's the truth. And it's only during this election that everyone seems to want to save it. And that part is true as well. And that's probably because at least the side that is pushing for mail-in voting. Now, like I said, I'm voting by mail. I'm voting an absentee ballot. I have requested the application. I had it sent out. I filled it out. I signed it. I did all the things that you're supposed to do, and I've mailed it back in. So they're supposed to send me an absentee ballot. Well, that's one thing, and it might differ from the mail-in voting that they talk about in some other states, where it's automatically sent out, and that's where the president says there can be fraud involved, and that's, again, that's one of those debatable issues. And again, I don't know the truth of any of it. I just know that I am voting an absentee ballot, and it's actually the first time in my life, and I'm 70, so I'll be 72 years old. It'll be the first time I've ever voted absentee, and I have never missed an election, ever. But I'm not going to go stand in line this year. Sorry, but I'm just not. Let's see. Yeah, people paying full stamp price. That's a good question. I don't know that either. All right, let's see if there's anything else here, because you guys are about running me out of throat this morning. Gretchen says, Chillie, hope that works. Looking forward to that. Post office. Here's post office lets old timer carriers take off whole month of December. Should not let carriers take off in December except the week. Part-time carriers working 12 hours a day and not getting overtime. Yeah, there's clearly some administrative issues that need fixing. I admit that. I just hope that it doesn't affect the mail-in ballot. It doesn't affect all you folks that are waiting for money back from the cruise lines from cancellations. I didn't go that route on my cruise money. I just passed it over to the next ones. So I have, I had a major chunk of my European trip next year was covered by my cancellation money. I realize a lot of you have requested money back, and a lot of you are still waiting for refunds. I'm still waiting for one of my airline refunds. I have gotten two others that I've gotten checks for recently. So I'm expecting the third one anytime now, but I'm still waiting for one of those. So it's taken since May. It's actually April when we started canceling those. To get the money back from the airline. So yeah, they're slow doing that. Everyone get Pete chocolate golf balls next cruise. I've never seen chocolate golf balls. Jason says he streams on Twitch. Okay, I've never even looked at Twitch, so I have to learn something here. Jason, I'll have to check it out. It's game related, Jason says. Okay, he's a gamer. That's cool. My channel is it's Jason412. I'm familiar with that. Sherry from Cruise Tip TV likes cruising in the MSC Yacht Club. She's vlogged it. That's from Amy. I could have put that up on the MSC Yacht Club. Yeah, there's several really good videos out on the MSC Yacht Club. I've just not been in, so I can't say firsthand. Sonny says, I was yelling along with everybody else watching Grandiosa taking off, loved hearing the horns. Yeah, that was those of us that love listening to the ships that love to sail, always get excited about that. That's clearly one of the great things about sailing is the send-off. My favorite part of a cruise is the first couple hours I'm on board. You always found me up on the upper deck. You'll always find me with a cocktail or several and be up there for the sail away. No doubt about it. So, all right, guys, I'm going to bail out. This is Tuesday, so I'll be back again on Thursday. And of course, if anything happens between now and then, watch on my channel here in the next little bit will be the video about Janine's river cruise in France that I taped last week, and I've had to hold until a cruise critic published her article. But that will be posted later on today, so you'll watch out for that. But anyway, that's going to be it for me for today. I'll see you guys on Thursday. As always, wear your mask, stay home if you can. If you have to be out, use your social distancing guidelines and wash your hands lots and all that stuff, and stay healthy, folks. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.